Hi, today's good person to know is Robin Pembrooke. He's General Manager for New Product Future Media at the BBC. And he started his talk with Tony Hall, Director General's vision to give viewers a more personalised BBC experience. So they've created new tools for journalists so that we can have up-to-the-minute coverage rather than waiting for news on the hour. But it's not been easy because their IT equipment is vastly outdated. Radio, TV and online journalists have their own content systems, and of the 7,500 journalists, only 500 were online. That means a whopping 7,000 journalists didn't have their stuff published online. Robin identified their key issues and how they plan to differentiate themselves by creating aggregate content, tagging people, places and stories so that users can personalise content in a way that benefits them. They've developed an app which, if you haven't done so, you really should download. It's brilliant. It's designed so that we can read what we want, what we're interested in, rather than what the BBC is just rolling out. I'm sure it's going to be one of the most downloaded apps on the planet. If you want to know the direction the BBC are heading in, then this is the perfect video for you. So I hope you enjoy it, and thank you for watching.
I know who Tony Hall is. He's the Director General of the BBC, and he gave a speech last October where he talked about his plans for the BBC over the next 10 years. And he talked about a digital future, but he also talked about a more personalised future, a kind of more personalised BBC experience. But as we move into a world where people are consuming news on mobile devices in particular, we really want to transform the way in which we're working. We've got to really focus on how we create new tools for our journalists. Because if at the moment, the way in which it's set up is that the radio journalists have one kind of technical stack, the TV journalists have another technical stack and a different set of tools, and the online journalists have their own content management system. And inside the BBC, of those 7,500 journalists, about 500 of them are online, but that means you've got 7,000 people who are creating the most amazing video and audio content, which isn't necessarily getting published on the website. The other thing that we're focused on is what we can do around data and how we can use data in real time to be able to inform a lot of our editorial decisions. So the key issues we're focused on is what we can do to improve our local value. So the BBC Trust, who regulate us, have said that our provision of local news isn't local enough, isn't updated on a regular enough basis. We get pretty low quality scores from users about how good they think the BBC local news sites are, so that's a big priority. We're trying to increase our international reach. So we reach about 150 million people every month. We've got a target where we want to reach that over the next, increase that up to around 500 million people a month. So international reach is massive. Live and social is another one of those priorities in an age where the vast majority of people, their first point of call for where they get news is Twitter or Facebook. How we represent the BBC on those platforms and how we make our coverage more live and engaging is important. The BBC badly underserves the 16 to 24 audience demographic. How are we doing in terms of reach? I think this is quite interesting. On a weekly line is the UK, where we reach about 25 million people a week. International, you can see, has been growing faster during the course of the year. What are they using, right? This is desktop, flat going down. This is mobile, this is tablet. How do we do globally? Each news site in the world? CNN. BBC, number 2. Twitter, Facebook, massively important to us, so that we're the most retweeted source of news on the planet. Actually, we call connected stories. So the thing is we've got these 7,500 journalists who, amongst them, create the best audio and video content in the world. Our digital products don't do a very good job at surfacing that content. And so, as a first step, if we can tell the full story from across the BBC, on our digital sites, surface the amazing interviews that are done on the Today programme or on Newsnight or on PM and things like that, and surface that up alongside our text-based content, that's where we think we can differentiate ourselves. At the moment, the way the organisation is set up is we've got journalists who spend their days, a lot of them, making packages for the 1 o'clock news, the 6 o'clock news, the 10 o'clock news, or for PM or for the Today programme. And then you'll have another group of people who then cut and paste those audio files and video files and republish them out to the web. What we're trying to do is to create a new set of tools for journalists that allow them to, as they capture that content, to be able to publish it out onto any platform simultaneously. You've got an underlying linked data model that allows us to tag any piece of video, photo, text, audio content, and we can tag it with any person or place or organisation or theme or story. If someone tags it with the same tag, that means that we can start to aggregate that content together in a way that makes sense to users. And that's something that is central to our strategy. So if you go to bbc.co.uk/things, you'll find that data model. The first way in which we're surfacing up that model is in the new app. And it brings together these streams of content. So it's not just video, it's short form text, it's articles, and we'll be doing that for the general election as well. The aim would be every constituency has its own topic page, right? Where you aggregate all of the radio or TV or online content, and you can embed tweets, short form updates or photos captured by journalists on their iPhones for every constituency. It means that we can start to create a wider range of things that people can personalise down in a way that makes sense to them. We basically have a single responsive web presence, which is, if you like, the default experience when people click through to BBC News on any given device. This is a format that we've been using with a company called Shorthand, who are an Australian software company who've created a piece of software that allows you to create these immersive full-page experiences. So we're really thinking about, if you're thinking about the future of something like Panorama, where they will have done a long-running piece of investigation, and they want to tell the equivalent of a kind of, a magazine-style story experience, which blends nicely text, big format pictures, but also for us, it allows us to be able to include in these long stories video as well. We've been experimenting with these and they've been working very well. We get average dwell times of about 6 or 7 minutes on these pieces. So as well as the linked data stuff, making sure that we're responsive on any mobile web device anywhere on the planet for the basic news service. What we've also got is experimenting with different kind of long form formats as well that allow people to do investigative journalism in different ways. One of the things that we're investing in is mobile clients that allow journalists to submit things from the field. And what we're trying to do is to make sure that the systems that the TV journalists use, when they submit a piece, they're tagging it straight away. When they're submitting their piece of content, they're having to think, okay, what is it about? Where else can it be discovered?